Welcome to FPL Differential XI, a series where we pick a team of 11 lowly owned players who we predict to score the most points for the upcoming game week, to assist you in gaining substantial rank over other fantasy managers. There's just 3 rules. The squad must be worth no more than 82.5 million, each player must be owned by a maximum of 10% of total players in the game, and we're only allowed to pick a maximum of 3 players from a single team. A silhouette of each player we've selected is already on the pitch, so feel free to play along by seeing how many of the 11 you can correctly guess. Kicking off the team in goal, I've gone for Neto for Bournemouth's away trip to Southampton. I'm recording this video before the 2 o'clock kickoffs on Sunday, due to the quick turnaround between Gameweek 32 and Gameweek 33. But at a glance, this doesn't look to be a week where there are a lot of guaranteed clean sheets. Although the Saints picked up an impressive point away at the Emirates on Friday night, they have on the whole struggled to come by goals, netting only 15 times in 16 home matches so far this season. Although Bournemouth haven't kept many clean sheets, they have been on fantastic form, picking up 10 out of a possible 15 points across their last 5 matches. Douglas Luiz managed to rescue Aston Villa a point at the end of their match with Brentford, which has extended their unbeaten run to 9 matches, with their last defeat coming against Arsenal back in Gameweek 24. Previously there were question marks over who started for Emery at left back, but for now at least, it seems that Alex Moreno has nailed down that spot. He offers attacking threat as well as clean sheet potential, and I think he's a sensible pick this week against a Fulham side who don't tend to score many goals away from home. Moreno has returned 17 FPL points across his last 3 fixtures, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him return this upcoming game week. After a ridiculous unbeaten run earlier in the season spanning between Game Week 6 and Game Week 23, Newcastle haven't quite looked themselves over the last couple of months or so, picking up only a single clean sheet in their last 10 matches. However, as a Newcastle fan, I can honestly say that apart from that 3-0 hammering last week at Villa Park, we've largely been in control of most of our recent fixtures, especially from a defensive point of view. Everton have only scored 4 goals across their last 5 home matches, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a 0-0, or even Newcastle just to edge this one by a goal to 0. Botman is the pick of the bunch from the Magpies backline, under 10% selected. One player who I thought would have scored more goals by this point in the season, but only managed to open his account a couple of weeks ago against Tottenham, is Lewis Dunk, and he joins the team this week for Brighton's away fixture against Nottingham Forest. Although Forest have performed much better at home than away this season, Brighton have the 4th best away record in the division, having only been beaten on 4 occasions from 15 matches. With tons of new players joining Forest at the start of the campaign, and multiple injuries to contend with, Steve Cooper's had a difficult job building any sort of cohesion within the team, and I would expect Brighton to comfortably dominate this one. One of the standout players from the promoted sides this season has to be Philip Billing for Bournemouth, who's picked up 7 goals and 1 assist so far. Billing has scored an impressive 4 double-digit hauls in FPL this campaign, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him return this midweek against rock bottom of the table Southampton. The Saints have only won 2 out of 16 home matches this season, and while the Cherries have been far from impressive themselves on the road, I'd expect them to be the favourites coming into this one and come away with all 3 points. Another player who I was considering is Ouattara, who's been fantastic of late, but I've sided with Billing due to safety of minutes. Although Rodrigo and the Leeds attack as a whole have underperformed lately, they do come up against one of the leakiest defences in the league this week in Leicester, who have conceded 35 goals away from home this season, which is the 3rd most in the division. With a 2-1 defeat at Craven Cottage last weekend, Leeds find themselves in a very precarious position in the table. My thinking behind this pick is that the Leeds faithful will act as the team's 12th man, as they'll understand the importance of this fixture when it comes to relegation, and Rodrigo has shown on a couple of occasions this season that he's capable of going on good goal-scoring runs. With Philip Coutinho and Leon Bailey being ruled out due to injury, I quite like the look of Jacob Ramsey as a big differential punt this week for his match against Fulham. Fulham's last clean sheet came in Gameweek 24 away against Brighton, and unbelievably the last time Villa failed to score in a Premier League game was all the way back in Gameweek 14 against Newcastle. From what I've seen from Villa, Ramsey seems to be involved in a fair amount of their attacking play, and in his last 6 fixtures he's returned 2 goals and 3 assists, amounting to a total of 38 FPL points. He's returned in Villa's last 3 home matches, so there's every possibility he gets something on Tuesday night. Eberechi Eze joins the team for the 3rd week in a row, and he's returned in the 2 weeks previous, so it'll be interesting to see if he can make it 3-3 with an away game against Wolves. Wolves have just been beaten by Leicester, whose last win in the league came against Tottenham back in Gameweek 23, and in that match they conceded a ton of chances to the Foxes. Palace have picked up 10 out of a possible 12 points in their last 4 matches, and I fancy Eze to be involved if they were to score this week. A mega differential this week at under 1% selected amongst fantasy managers is Julio Enciso, and I've included him here in the differential 11 for Brighton's away game versus Nottingham Forest. When Joel Veltman was forced off due to injury in the match against Chelsea last week, there was a shift in the Seagulls formation, which saw McAllister dropping back into a defensive midfield role, while Enciso played a number 10 role in behind the striker. He seems to be involved in a lot of Brighton's attacking build-up play, and we've seen him return 2 goals from his last 3 league fixtures in limited minutes. I can definitely see him returning against a Forest side who haven't won since Gameweek 22. One of the major surprise packages of Gameweek 30 was Dominic Solanke, who scored a goal and picked up 2 assists in the match against Tottenham, amounting to a total of 15 FPL points. Bournemouth have been putting a good run of results together at the perfect time in the season, with 10 points out of a possible 15 across their last 5 fixtures. Against bottom of the table Southampton, there's arguably a number of the Cherries attackers I could opt for, such as the likes of Ouattara and Tavernier, but Solanke has played close to 90 minutes in every match since Gameweek 23, and he also brings with him the added bonus of penalties. Completing the 11 this week is an interesting pick for sure, and that's Mikel Antonio for West Ham's home encounter with Liverpool. Although Liverpool have gained some decent momentum lately, they've still conceded 9 goals in their last 5 games, including 2 goals last week against Forest in that marginal 3-2 victory. Time and time again this season we've seen Liverpool being exposed when playing a high defensive line, and Antonio is a player that West Ham can definitely utilise to counter that system. I thought Antonio was pivotal to the Hammers' 2-2 draw against Arsenal the other week, and I think he's long overdue a return. Just a quick reminder to let you know that this could be your channel appearing on the series. If you want to be in with a chance of winning a shout out on the channel, correctly predict the points total of this week's differential 11. Info will be down below in the pinned comment. Thanks for joining us on this week's video. Make sure to subscribe and ring the bell to avoid missing the next one, and I wish you all massive green arrows for the upcoming game week.